Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 7th of October. The first important news that is Indigenous LCH Prachand and its significance. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second important news that is India's role in de-escalating Ukraine conflict that is ongoing between Russia and Ukraine. Third important news that is World Bank slashes India's economic growth forecast. We'll look into the important institutions that has given the forecast for the India's growth. Fourth, services sector growth slows to 6-month low. And the last is an editorial strengthening the CSR framework is a profitable idea. We'll look into the aspect of the CSR framework, how far the journey has been. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for examination purposes, do press a like button. Starting with the first news of the day, that is the Indigenous LCH Prachand and its significance. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 3 under the topic Achievement of India in Science and Technology, Indianization of Technology, and Development of New Technology. So recently, the Indian Air Force has formally inducted the indigenously developed multi-role light combat helicopters, जिसका नाम प्रचंड रखा गया, which is suitable for obtaining or operating in the high altitude battlefield. So this is the achievement for India. This Prachand light compact helicopter is indigenously developed, which is again a landmark achievement for India's defense forces. So the multi-role attack helicopter has been customized as per the requirement of Indian Armed Force, and this will operate in both in desert as well as desert terrain as well as the high altitude sector. So this is an important point that can be asked in the prelims examination. Now, other important point about this LCH, that is the light compact helicopter. This is the only helicopter in the world that can, as a land, take off an altitude of approximately 5,000 meters. So this is an again important point, and it is capable of firing for range up to air to ground, and that is air to air missile. So both capable features are there in this light compact helicopter known as Prachand. Now, talking about the LCH project, so this light compact helicopter project can be traced way back to 1999 during the Kargil War, when the armed forces felt the need for the dedicated platform that is capable for operating in the high altitudes, which at that point of time India was not capable of, right? So the gradual process started in the month of October 2006. The government has sanctioned the design and development of the LCH, and Indian Army joined the program in December 2013. So the Hindustan Aeronautical Limited built up 4 LCH prototype that was tested and test fired with over 1600 total flight logging and 1239 flight hours, which make it possible that we have reached today. Now, subsequently, looking into the background of how things has evolved in the LCH. So the ground run was carried out in February 2010, and the first prototype, that is TD1, took into the maiden flight on March 29, 2010. So 2010 में ये सारे इंसेप्शंस की गए, ट्रायल्स किए गए, after which like in 2022 the final inception takes. After an inception of the flight testing in the diverse terrains, weather conditions, the LCH received initial operations clearances on like August 26, 2017. Now it was declared for the productions in February 2020, and earlier this year, the Cabinet Committee on Security, which is headed by the Prime Minister, again an important point to note, which is headed by the Prime Minister, has approved the procurement for 15 limited series of the production variant of the cost. The total cost is 3,887, and 10 was given to Indian Air Force and 5 was given to Indian Army. So this is the initial manufacturing of the LCH. Very soon government will be augmenting the process of the entire productions. Now, what is the main feature of this LCH? This is powered by twin Shakti engine, which is a collaborative effort of the Indian Aeronautical Limited as well as France Safran Company, right? So these are the collaborations between India and France. This is again an important point to note. And it is a 5.8 ton class compact helicopter that has a potent ground attack and aerial compatibility, or you can say the capabilities. The helicopter can fly with a maximum speed of 288 km per hour and has a compact radius of 500 kilometers that can go up to the service ceiling of 21,000 feet and can operate in Siachen as well. So Siachen is the highest battlefield in India. So these are some of the toughest range that Indian Army is operating with. Now it incorporates several seats and features such as reduced radar and infrared signatures, and the cache with the features that has improved the survivability, armed protection system, and the night attack capabilities. So after the induction of this LCH Prachand, many of the things has improved. The state of art technology has been incorporated. Now LCH की और कुछ एडवांटेजेस की बात करें जो कि स्पेसिफिकली आर्म फोर्सेस के लिए हेल्पफुल होंगी. सो द इंडक्शन ऑफ LCH इनटू द एयर फोर्सेस हैज टर्म्ड एज अ बिग बूस्ट. एक बहुत बड़ी बूस्ट मिली है इंडियन एयर फोर्सेस को, विच विल हैव the power to armed forces and potent platform to meet the operational requirement of Indian Air Force as well as Indian Army. So it will benefit both Indian Air Force as well as Indian Army. The light compact helicopter can be deployed to assume anti-defense, anti-tank roles, high altitude, counter-insurgency and search and rescue operations that are equipped with the advanced technology that can be used to destroy the enemy air defense as per the Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. Now it can be deployed to perform the combat search rescue operation, which is also known as CSAR. Bunker busting operations में इसकी मदद ली जा सकती है. Counter insurgency operations में, jungle and urban areas and the support of the ground. This is what the Defense Ministry has elaborated on the part how this is going to help for the armed forces. Now the helicopter is likely to be deployed against the line of actual control with the Apache helicopters. Now this is a brief about the Prachand. When a fleet basically has a 4 helicopter that was inducted in the Indian Air Force. This was in the October 2022. And what this Prachand is a light helicopter that is designed by the Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. Eventually 65 Prachand helicopter will be inducted into Indian Air Force and 97 into Indian Army. So this is a roadmap that the government has decided. And Prachand is India's first indigenous multi-role compact helicopter. So this can be important for many other government examination and even for the civil services. Make sure you take a note of this. Now the other news, India's role in de-escalating the Ukraine conflict. Now India is vocal on this part that definitely negotiation is the only option to end this war. Something important for General Studies paper 2, that is effect of policies and politics for developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. Recently, India's External Affairs Minister has interacted with the counterpart in New Zealand, and regarding several global issues the meeting was held, which also include the important aspect that is ongoing between the Russian-Ukraine war, which has severely impacted the international trade and the market in 2022. Because of this war, a lot of inflationary pressures had also taken place in India. Across the globe, the supply chain has been hugely disrupted. Now, the minister revealed that India has been pressing Russia to go for the safety of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is there in the Ukraine, when the two countries stepped up fighting near the high sensitive area. So any bombarding or any kind of activities, the viral activities that is going near this Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant can be hazardous. So I'll show you the image of this nuclear plant, which is there in the Ukraine. You can see this is the image of the nuclear power plant. Now some concern has been raised. So the United Nations earlier has raised concern about the proximity of the conflict that is going between the Ukrainian nuclear power plant, after which India pressed Russia to fight away, basically to move away from the fight and look for the safety of the civilian, because the war in the present era is not in solution, right? Although मेजर cities in Ukraine has been devastated. बहुत सारी ऐसी शहर है जिनको पूरी तरह से ध्वस्त कर दी गई. Now, the Prime Minister of India has spoken to the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and regarding the Ukraine crisis, they said that this is not the time to war. Now, India is vocal about the part. Initially, India was skeptical in the part that they're not supporting Ukraine. Now, firmly, India has come up with the voice that the war should be ended at the earliest. Now, these words by the Prime Minister were lauded by the global leaders as well, using the de-escalations of the war. तो जो इंडिया की स्टेटमेंट प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने दी है उसको ग्लोबल लीडर्स ने अप्रिशिएट किया एंड से दैट दिस इज द राइट अप्रोच दैट इंडिया हैड टू. Now, it must be noted that India has not put forward the clear instances about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and has been urging both countries to solve war with diplomacy and dialogue. So, dialogue and diplomacy is only the way out. Now, the World Bank slashes India's economic growth forecast, something important for General Studies Paper 3, that is, important international institution, agencies, their structure and mandate. So recently, the World Bank has slashed the growth estimate for India by 1%. This was earlier estimated to be around 7.5%, which has been slashed to now 6.5% for the financial year 2023, citing the blowback of the Russia-Ukraine war and ongoing global monetary tightening. जैसा मैंने आपको अभी रिसेंटली बताया कि यूक्रेन और रशिया की वार की वजह से काफ़ी ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम हुई है एंड इवन ड्यू टू द रीसेंट यूएस फेड की जो रिजर्व खास करके जो रेट है जिसमें टाइटनिंग की गई है उसकी इफेक्ट भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा दिखी. Now, this is the lowest growth estimations by any multilateral agency for the financial year. Now, talking about the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which projected that India's economy is going to grow by 7.4%, is expected to revise this estimate after the World Bank estimation, which was recently there, that is 6.5% from earlier 7.5%. Now, last week, the Reserve Bank of India has also pared its estimate to 7%. पहले आरबीआई ने 7.2% की ग्रोथ एस्टिमेट की थी. नाउ दे हैव रिड्यूस्ड इट टू 7%. Now, looking into important institutions and their projection that was made. So, this is the earlier projection that was made by the institution, and this is the current projection by the World Bank, the Nomura, Morgan Stanley, S&P, Fitch, OECD, RBI, and the Asian Development Bank. आप इसमें कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट जरूर ध्यान रखें, लाइक आरबीआई की जो फोरकास्ट है उसे आप पे ध्यान रखना है. एंड द वर्ल्ड बैंक इज अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर लाइक प्राइवेट रिसर्च थिंक टैंक. यू कैन टेक द कंसिडरेशन ऑफ मॉर्गन एंड स्टैनली. द ग्लोबल ट्रेड वॉल्यूम की अगर बात करें, द वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैज रिसेंटली स्लैश्ड इट्स फोरकास्ट फॉर द ग्लोबल ट्रेड वॉल्यूम विच इज 1%, that is from 3.5%, 3.4% estimated earlier, which could adversely impact the export from India, which contracted in September 1st in the 19 months. Now, India's service export has recovered more strongly than the rest of the world because India's ample foreign reserve was there. The forex reserve है इंडिया के पास, उसने एक तरह से बफर की तरह काम किया, and which has made it more affordable, resilient in the country external sectors. Economic activities की बात करें इंडिया में, what is the real time economic activities? So it is estimated that it can expand by 13.5% in June quarters, and although it has contracted compared to the last year, the report said that the employment has stated expanding in India 2 months, but recovery speed जिस तरह से होनी चाहिए वो नहीं है. World Bank said that India has relatively small currency pressures, especially in the trading partners' currencies. And while the dollars fell slightly as the US has strengthened its rates. Now, India banned on the export of rice. We have recently seen जो parboiled rices है उस पर इंडिया ने बैन की है, नॉन बासमती राइसेस पे also. And it is expected that 1/5 of the country rice which is going for the supply chain will definitely impact countries like Thailand and Vietnam will be severely impacted, and this will add the global food inflation as well. Now, service sector growth slows to 6% low. This is something important for General Studies Paper 3. That is the Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So, as per the S&P Global India Services, the purchasing manager index for the Indian services sector is actively fell to a 6-month low in September. The seasonal adjustment, which was made by the S&P Global India Services, it said that it's something close to 54.3 in September from August 57.2. Earlier, this was the number. Now this has projected 54.3, right? So this is the weakest rate of expansion since March. Now, service sector के बारे में अगर बात करें, the 14th straight line, the service sector has witnessed an expansion output. In the purchasing manager index, the parlance of the print above 50 means is expansion, while the score below 15 denotes the contraction. अगर 50 के ऊपर है तो उसे expansionary services या sector मानी जाती है, और 50 से नीचे is a contractions. Now, the Indian service sector has overcome the adversities in the recent month, with the latest PMI continuing to slow the stronger performance despite the loss of the growth momentum in September. Now, about the lending rate, this is again very important. Recently, the MPC committee, which is headed by the RBI members, so RBI ने कहा that it has raised the key lending rate on the repo rate, that is 5.90% for the highest in the April. And MPC has also decided to remain focused on the withdrawal of the accommodative policies since instances to ensure the inflation remain within the target forward while supporting the growth, right? So lending rate has also played a crucial role in India to control the inflationary pressures. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, strengthening the CSR framework is a profitable idea. Something important for General Studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So, what are the issues under this editorial? So, talking about the theme of this editorial, this talks about the CSR framework, that is the corporate social responsibility. We'll see the geographical bias that has evolved. Schedule 7 of the Companies Act 2013, monitoring of the CSR spending, intervention that is required, and the way ahead. So looking into the background, अगर बात करें corporate social responsibility को जिसको establish की गई है under section 135 of the Companies Act 2013, तो CSR spending जो इंडिया में देखी गई है वो काफ़ी बड़ी है. Compared to 2014-15, it were only 10,000. Now it has rose up to 24,865. Now there's no data to verify whether the increase is commensurate in the increase in the profit of Indian or foreign businesses companies, but the number is what has been witnessed. Now, beside this, 2,926 companies in 2021 with a zero spending on the CSR has also been reported, and less than the prescribed limit of 2% rose were there from 3078 in 2015-16 to 3293. तो marginal increase हुई है, but again जो volume है, अगर value की बात करें, it has increased too much. So how this profit shifting is working is all the companies are working diligently towards their contribution, or only some companies which are making a huge margin are showing their contribution. So there is also a decline in the number of the companies that are participating in the CSR, that is for the financial year. now अगर बात करें पहले 25,103 कंपनीज थी जो पार्टिसिपेट कर रही थी, और ये डिक्रीज हुई है अप टू 17,007 कंपनीज. Now there is a geographical bias with the CSR that is ongoing. So as per the section 135.5 of the Companies Act, the company should give preference to the local areas around the where it is operated. So this is pretty logical and obvious. जो कंपनीज जिस प्रॉक्सिमिटी में काम कर रही है उनको अपने प्रॉक्सिमिटीज एरिया के लोगों को बेनिफिट्स देनी है. दिस इज व्हाट हैज बीन एनविसाज्ड इन द कंपनीज एक्ट, राइट, ताकि वहाँ के लोगों को एक्चुअल प्रॉफिट मिल सके. हाउएवर, अशोका यूनिवर्सिटी की कुछ रिपोर्ट ये बताती है दैट इट सेज 54% of the CSR companies are concentrated in the state of Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Gujarat, and they have received the highest CSR spending. और कुछ स्टेट्स हैं जो कि पॉपुलेशन वाइज बड़े हैं बट CSR की जो उनकी कंट्रीब्यूशन है वो काफ़ी कम है. दैट इंक्लूड उत्तर प्रदेश एंड मध्य प्रदेश. दे हैव रिसीव्ड वेरी लिटिल CSR contribution. A high-level committee has observed 2018 that the emphasis of the local area in the act is only directionary and balance has not been maintained. Unfortunately, the ambiguity has much more on the discretions of the board that has to decide that the absence of the clear percentage of the local spending vis-a-vis other spending is taking place. So companies are not very much basically vocal on the part of their spending. They just hide their net profit to ensure that they are not investing in the CSR spending. Now, Schedule 7 जो है Companies Act 2013 उसमें क्या क्या details mention किए गए हैं as per the items which is there. The act deals with the broader environmental issues to create a countervailing effect. However, the analysis of the CSR spending reveals that the most CSR spending in education, that is 37%, and health and sanitation is only 29%. अगर बात करें environment की, जिस पे सबसे ज़्यादा dominations की बात की गई, that is only 9%, with the environment, even the extract industries and mining functioning as an environment detrimental manner in the several states. Monitoring of CSR spending. This is again a big point that has emerged, that is highlighted in the editorial itself. So, underlining the existing regulations, monitoring is a broad-lived disclosures regime that the companies reporting in their CSR spending annually to Ministry of Corporate Affairs through filing an annual report. And it is known that if there is a review of this report, a company has to take a task. A major issues with the design is to focus on output rather than quality and expenditure that is there. Now, the Standing Committee on Finance has also observed that the information regarding the CSR spending by the companies is insufficient and difficult to access. Additionally, the auditor can investigate only the details of the spending, and most questions can be there on the broad and authenticity. सो किस तरह से स्पेंडिंग हो रही है, एक्चुअल में लोगों को कितनी बेनिफिट हुई है, वहाँ के प्रॉक्सिमिटी रीजन में जो नेबरहुड्स के रीजन है उन लोगों को काम मिली या नहीं मिली है, उनके जो CSR के स्पेंडिंग्स हैं उनसे लोगों की कितनी स्केलिंग की गई है, किस सेक्टर्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट हुई है, दैट ऑल थिंग हैज़ टू बी ऑडिटेड एंड इट शुड बी गिविंग ऑथेंटिक इन्फॉर्मेशन. नाउ CSR की अगर बात करें, जो मेन फ्रेमवर्क है वो 4 इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट पे है. द फर्स्ट इज द कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस एंड एथिक्स, पीपल, एनवायरनमेंट एज वेल एज the contributions to development. So you can use this diagram in the mains paper as well. Now intervention, जिस तरह की ज़रूरत है, there's a need to have a accurate national level platform जहाँ पे centralized जो Ministry of Corporate Affairs है वो सारे states को एक list provide करे कि उनके क्या क्या potent CSR administrable projects हैं जिन पे वो execution कर सकते हैं. तो priority list बनाने की ज़रूरत है. And even all companies can access their CSR fund that would be impactful across the country. Even the corporate social responsibility repository project can help to invest a grid, can guide and such effort. और ये जो मॉडल है ये सपोर्ट करेंगे डिजर्विंग प्रोजेक्ट्स को 112 एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम में जो गवर्नमेंट ने आइडेंटिफाई किया है, एंड बाय द MPs अंडर द गवर्नमेंट संसद आदर्श ग्राम योजना. So this type of scheme is also aiding for the overall contributions. The companies need to prioritize environment restoration, in which they have operate a mark 25% of the environmental generations. Now way ahead की अगर बात करें, and the conclusion part, all CSR projects should be selected and implemented within an active involvement of the company's district administration and the public representative. Recommendations by the high level committees in 2018 should be incorporated in the CSR framework to improve the existing monitoring regime. This include strengthening reporting mechanism that will enhance the disclosure concerning the selection project, locations and implementation of the agencies. So this is how the way forward can be completed. And suppose if you are answering any question related to CSR, make sure you incorporate all the important points that has been discussed in this editorial. So this was all about for the editorial. Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is C again. Today's MCQ for practice आपको बताना है नेचुरल मॉनसून मिशन के बारे में. It was launched by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It aims to develop state-of-art dynamic monsoon prediction system for short, medium and long range forecast. So do check out for the correct option. Second question of the day, Amal or Hope mission has been conducted by which among the following countries? Iran, UAE, Pakistan or Sri Lanka. So do check it out for the correct option. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.